Hi, it's Marie with Marie's Cards and More. I'm going to show you how I made this card. And yes, I'm still using my Fern and Flora stamp set dies and the Moonlit Flora Designer Series paper. So I want to show you how I made this card. It is a traditional 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is a tentfold card. How I made it is I took an 8 1/2 by 11 sheet of thick white cardstock and I cut it on the 8-inch side. I cut it at 4 1/4. Then I took, one of the halves, and then I scored it at 5 1/2. And then that will give me a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch tentfold card. So let's look at some of the products that I used for this card. For the sentiment, I used banner sayings, happy birthday, and then I cut it out using a punch. And today I'm going to show you some punches. So this punch is the 3 banner punch, and I used the center one, and I cut this little banner out. So that's that. The other punches that I used was I used one circle punch at 1 3/4 and then another circle punch at 1 7/8. Now Stampin' Up! Has 4 different sizes. I only have 3, but they also have a 2-inch side. I'm not going to use that, but they also have a 2 3/8 inch that I just don't have yet. Okay, what else did we use? Well, we used the Fern and Flora dies, and for that I used the little curly Q one. I used this little bushy looking thing. Today I think I'm going to add another one, so I'm going to probably use that. And then I used the die to cut out my little butterfly and the die that cuts out my floral image. So for the stamps, I stamped this one and I stamped my little butterfly. So those are the only 2 stamps that I used on this card. Okay, what else? Let's look at the paper. So we'll set that to the side. So here's my papers. Now, I cut a panel, this panel right here, and I went down 1/4 inch. So instead of 4 1/4, I cut it at 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so that's what this is. Well, then I said, I'm going to show y'all how you could save some of your paper. So maybe you want to use this in a, trying to figure out how it came. There, maybe. Yeah. So I had that was a full sheet, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to cut out a design out of the middle because I can use this on a different card. Okay, so some other card at some other time, I could use that. And then I've cut this out, and it's not going to be a problem, so I've saved a little bit of paper. If you had a larger die, you could certainly do that, but I didn't have one that was current that would cut a little bit larger. So what dies did I use for it? I used Stylish Shapes, is what this die set is. And somewhere, maybe not. Oh well, here it is. I was like, I have the thing. Stylish Shapes, and it is 159183. And this is a good die set that is current, and it's also in the new catalog that will go live May the 5th. But it's real good because it gives you some shapes that you would use a lot of. You've got your circles, you've got squares, and then you have 4 different banners. All of these are stitched, so if you can see this or not. Maybe if I put it on white. I don't know. Can you see that it has just a little stitching that goes around it? So this is a really good die set to get. So I used this die, and I set it down about like right about there. and I put it through my cut and emboss machine. And then that gave me this little square that I could use on a different card. So let's get these out of the way. Oops, always put your dies away. Very important. All right, so I'm going to put this on my white card that I've lost. Okay, who else loses things that are right on their desk? It's crazy. All right, there it is. So I'm going to glue that down just like that. Now you could look, sometimes your designer series paper will have a pattern that you need to be mindful of, right? So, you know, do you want these going up? Let's see, and then this one's kind of going down. So this one doesn't really matter, but do you like it that way? I mean, I personally like it better this way. So I'm going to glue that right down. So let's get some of this other stuff out of the way. And I'll show you the colors as I create the card. Let's hope that I have glue that will come out today. This is the reverse side of that paper, and I really like it. So actually, I guess if you use that side, see, you would want to get that correct. It's, you know, the direction correct. So I guess it's supposed to go that way, but it's me. And I'm going to put it the way I like it, because you're not going to see the back. So again, just a little bit of glue. And I'll put a skosh. Y'all know what a skosh is? Okay. And now I'm going to put this. Can y'all see this? I'm really bad about getting out of the camera. Okay. There. Now, what else could you do with this? Well, if you wanted to, you could just stamp right there. Or you could put something in there and you could be done. You could. That's not what we're going to do, but you could. I'm going to add my other layer. So here this is. So how did I decide what I wanted this panel to be? Now, I could have cut it down a little bit more, but I kind of like that. It's about 1/2 of an inch all the way around. That gives me like a frame. So how did I figure that out? Well, if this is card's 4 1/4, this panel's 4, and if I want 1/2 inch on each side, I need to go down 1 inch, right? So let me get to my paper trimmer. So that's 4, and I'm going to go down 1 inch. So this time I'm going to go to 3. And I try to save cardstock. You know, just look at your cardstock as you're cutting different things out and try to figure out how you can cut it and keep the biggest scrap so that you could use it on different cards. Does that make sense? So 3. Okay, so see, I've got a pretty good size there. Not pretty. It's such pretty paper. Okay, so now what did I do? Well, this is 5 1/4, right? So I'm going to go down 1 inch. So now I want 4 1/4. There's 4. Can y'all see that? There's 4, and I'm going to go to 4 1/4. Now I've got that piece. My paper trimmer attacked my shirt. Okay. Yes, it's me. Okay. So now I have this panel, and it can go right there. You will never know that that was cut out. So let's glue this panel down. And again, just a little glue. Now you could certainly use tape if you want. I'm going to do a little short video kind of showing you some of the different adhesives that we have. Okay, so then you just kind of set him how you want him. And I always kind of pick him up and look to see if did I get him where I want him? Well, for heaven's sakes, I did until I moved him. Okay. See why I like glue? I know, I need to quit fiddling, huh? Sometimes your eyeball gets tricked and you think it's crooked and it's not. Okay, good enough. You will never know that hole is there. Even if you hold it up to I was trying to hold it up to kind of light, you still can't see it. All right, so now what are we going to do? We're going to punch out our 2 circles. So I decided, I'm reaching way over, I decided to punch this pretty berry burst. As you can see, I've punched several things out of it. And I'm going to punch that one. I think I'm going to do the 1 7/8. So here's our punch. So, little cat hair. Ignore that. So on the front, it will show you the 1 7/8. It also shows right here 1 7/8. So a lot of people, you know, store theirs like that. This side has a Stampin' Up! Logo, and it has this lock. Well, the way you unlock it is you just push that up. Well, sometimes it kind of gets stuck, and you're like, I can't open it. We'll kind of squeeze it a little bit, and then unlock it, and then it will pop up. So then what I do is I just stick my piece of paper in there, and I like it to where you can see what you're doing. Okay, so I turn it wrong side, I guess, upside down, however you want to call it. You could put it on your desk, and if you've got weak hands, this is probably a good way to do it. And put it on your desk, and then just push down, and there is your little circle. Well, that's kind of cute. Got a little moth or butterfly. Okay, and then you just slide it out. All right, so that was that one. Now I'm just going to lock it back, and I just squeeze it and pull the lock. Okay, now we're going to use the 1 3/4, and I decided to use this little paper. And all of these are in the Moonlit Flora. So again, I'm just going to open them up. And I'm going to set them on the desk. Just a little easier for your hands. And I try to save as much paper as I possibly can. And there's that one. Okay. And again, squeeze, slide. Okay. I swear that is crooked. Okay. I keep looking at it and it just looks crooked, but it is what it is today. Then I'm going to put that like that, and I'll probably put that one like that. Now, do I want this small? You know what? I was going to do, oh, I know what I was going to do 3. You know how I said I never do anything the same way twice? And I was thinking about doing a 3rd one. What paper would I use? Hang on, my brain's trying to figure this out. Maybe not. What do y'all think? I wish that you could tell me what you thought. let's look at the paper. So I could use a lighter color. Let's see if there's any lighter color in this package. I have that color. What do y'all think for a third one? What paper is that? Let me see if I already have cut into that paper. Don't think, nope, I haven't. Let's just try another one. So we're gonna do that. I'm thinking on the fly here. This is kind of how you design. And you know what? After I do this, I may look at it and go, nope, don't like it. You'll need to put in the comments. Maybe one day I'll do a live where you can talk to me while I'm trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to do. Okay, so there's 1, and there's 2, and then that would be 3. I don't like to do the same thing over and over and over again. Okay, what do y'all think? Maybe. Or maybe I ought to just go to a bigger. We're going to leave it for now. Okay, so we're going to set that to the side. So now what we're going to do is we're going to die cut out these pieces. So I have my baby die cut and cut and emboss machine, and I have some different colors. So let's cut these things out. Traditional sandwich. Cover up your glue. Okay. So I'm going to cut out this little guy. If I can get a hold of him, come here. This little guy. I'm going to cut him out of this paper. And sometimes I try to see if I can squeeze and, ooh, I can. See? Save your papers. Now, if you're afraid that that's going to move, use a little piece of your sticky tape, Post-it note tape. Now remember, on the mini, you need to stair step or stagger the plates. And that way, it just goes right through. Another pop. Maybe. I was trying to make it as quiet as possible, but I don't think that was very quiet. Okay. Oh, looky there. Got him all cut out. Sort of. Let go. Sometimes they get a little finicky, but when you're taking them out of the piece of cardstock, you know, be gentle, because you can tear the little guys, and then that really makes you angry. See how it's got those two little, take your pick tool to the rescue, and I'm just gonna poke him out, poke him out. Okay, and I'll cover that up so I don't stab myself. So there's that. We're going to use that. And then I think, whoops, I left my tape on there. Give that to me. We're going to use him. Oh, got to put him on the right thing. Okay, and we're going to use him. Ah, see how I left a little piece in there? Make sure you poke that out, because if you don't, it might not get a good cut the second time or the third time or whatever. So I don't think I need any Post-it tape on there. Excuse me while I cough. I'll drink a water. So what's it like where you live? I'm in North Texas. Today it's raining. We've got really bad storms recently. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. But you know what? I'm not going to complain because we are still in a drought. All of these little guys need to be punched out. So again, I just take my take your pick tool and I just pop them out. Just like that. So got him. Let's do another one of him because he's so cute. Are y'all botanists? Do you know what that is? I have not a clue. It's a green thing with a curlicue. See, I want to save as much cardstock as I can. It's with everything. You know, everything's getting rather expensive. So there's number 2. Sometimes they just pop right out. Sometimes they don't. See how they have the holes? All these little holes? Well, that way you could just poke it and then you can peel them out. And let's take a peek. Oh, see, he's all clean this time. I'm going to put him up so he doesn't run off. And now we're going to, you got it, poke those out. So y'all like die cutting? Die cutting and piecing. I go through spells. I love the texture that die cutting creates. I don't necessarily like all of the little annoying pieces that you have to deal with. I know that makes absolutely no sense, but that's me. All right, so I think I might cut out one more thing. Here he is. What do y'all think? That one? Yep. And I think I'm going to cut him out of Old Olive. Hello. Okay. So while I cut this out, I would love it if you would comment on my videos and if you would subscribe if you haven't already, and if you would share with others. It would be most appreciated. I'm just kind of starting in my YouTube journey, and I would love any support that you could give me. Now, I also show my videos on Facebook, so let's say you have a friend that doesn't like YouTube. Well, they can see my videos on Facebook, and it's the same thing, Marie's Cards and More. Okay, so those are all of those. So now what are we going to do? We're going to, what are the colors? Well, this is Old Olive. This is Soft Seafoam. And this was the new Peaceful Pine. So that's a 2026, 2028 in color. I'm going to put him back. So those are all the colors. Let me make sure that color was right. Yep, Soft Seafoam. I started second guessing myself. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to stamp and color both of these little guys. Okay, now I had I really into, oh, there they are. Okay, now let's get our stamps out. And as you can see, they're well loved because I love them. And I'm going to do a block. Love the block. See how nice and thick they are. And they got a nice finger grip. I love them. Now, I'm going to use alcohol, or the Stampin' Blends, which are alcohol markers. So I'm going to use Memento ink. If I was just using the water-based ink, then I would either use StazOn, or I have VersaFine that I really like. But StazOn's good too. Now, Stampin' Up! Does have the new hybrid ink that you could use for any purpose, but I'm not going to use that today. I have the Memento, and I'm going to use it. So I'm just going to stamp him right down here. Give it a second to transfer a nice, good, bold image. And then I'm going to find my little butterfly. You want a butterfly, or should we do a moth? No, I think the butterfly, because he's a little bit smaller. I think he needs to be a little smaller on this card. And I have another block. And load him up and come over here and stamp him. Really cute. Cover for inks. Now, I get in the habit of right away cleaning off my stamps. Now, I have this old one. This is a Stampin' Up! Tidy towel, or I don't know. I think that's what they call it. It needs to be re-wet. Okay, let's move those. All right, now I'm going to use Berry Burst Stampin' Blends, light and dark. And I'm going to use, oh, that's Mossy Meadow. I'm going to use Mossy Meadow. Why not? We'll use Mossy Meadow. And we'll use the new Golden Glow. Okay, so what are we going to do first? I think we'll use the light. And usually when I am, hang on a second, I'm trying to get some paper. When I'm using alcohol markers or Stampin' Blends, I like to have another piece of paper because it's going to bleed through, and I try to keep this clean. You know it doesn't stay that way. I normally don't put it directly on my glass mat because if it pools too much, you get too much ink, it can absorb back into your cardstock where you don't want it. I like the brush tip. And then I'm just going to very lightly. Now, when you're using the brush tip of these Stampin' Blends, don't press hard. You'll ruin the tip. Now, if you have, dexterity issues, or you have issues with your hands, then use the bullet tip because it's not so fragile. This brush tip, you can see a itty bitty tip. It's pretty fragile, but I like it because it's very small, and I already have a light hand when I'm coloring, so I don't have any trouble with it. So we're just going to kind of come through here. And remember, this ink, this Memento ink, is made to work with this alcohol, so it won't bleed. And I'll get the new hybrid ink and I'll try it. We'll see. Sometimes you just like to stay with the try and true things that you know are going to work. Now, the other thing that I do, as you may have noticed, is I move my project around. And I know I've talked about that many times because it makes it easier. Now, when you're coloring or you're using your Stampin' Blends, just depending on what you want to do, these are such small little things. I don't really have to worry much about blending. But I know I've done other videos, kind of show you a little bit more on how to blend. So I'm just going to quickly come through here. And you're like, this is quick. Okay, I'm going to slowly go through here. Hey, this is quick for me. I enjoy the process, so I do not rush through things. Okay, so that was the light. So I'm going to use the dark. How do you open them? I have some people that go, how? I can't open them. I'll grab it. See these little dots here? They're on both sides. Grab it with your thumb and your finger and just pop it off. I'm going to come back with a little bit of the dark. Even though there's not a whole lot of room for some shading. If you haven't figured it out yet, I like to color. And I like depth. I don't like anything to be just flat. To me, that's boring. But you do whatever you like. Even on these teeny weeny little ones, I think you can get a little bit of color. Make sure you push and snap it back, because alcohol markers, if you leave them open, they're going to dry out. Okay. For this little guy, I just remember this one's the bullet tip, by the way. I figure I'll just kind of add a little extra color. I don't know, it's just barely anything. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to color my little butterfly. So this is the bullet tip. And it's not so fragile. A lot of people like it. If I'm having to do like a large shape, sometimes I use the bullet tip. Or I use it on the small, but it didn't have quite as small of a point. But you saw how quickly you could do that. It's easy. Easy peasy. Okay, now we're going to go to Light Mossy Meadow. And yeah, I'm going to go back to this one's getting a little old, but it's still okay. I'm going to go back to my brush tip. Now, alcohol markers or Stampin' Blends kind of spread a little bit. So if you have a little bit of trouble keeping within the line, color a little bit away from the line and just see if it absorbs or if it kind of blends out. If it doesn't, then you can go back to the line. See how I'm not going all the way to the line at first? And that way I know that I'm not going to bleed outside. Usually if you're just doing very light, it doesn't. But it's when you try to do a lot of ink blending and you keep adding color on top of color on top of color, sometimes the cardstock gets saturated and it will bleed outside the line. But there is a product that you can use to cover that up, or actually to erase it. And I'll show it to you in a second. Hopefully I don't color out of the line. But with me, you never know. Sometimes I get excited. Hopefully this isn't like watching paint dry. In the comments, tell me, do you like to color? And if you do, what do you like to color with? What medium do you like to color with? Now, this is all black. I like to come in and just kind of add a little more color. You don't have to do this. especially not if you don't have a steady hand. But I kind of like the way it goes just a little bit outside of the lines. And it just, I don't know, I think it adds a little something. You may not like that. You may want to just leave the black line. But it's kind of like I'm adding my own stem, and then the black is just kind of adding to it. Maybe a little depth or dimension or something. But you may not like it. I didn't really do it. Well, I did. See, I did it on that one too. Okay, I can't leave anything alone. Okay. So let's say I didn't want that big. I'm going to come in here with my color lifter. And really what it has in it, I'm going to come back, I'm going to show you. Here, let's use the other tip. Let's use this tip. And you can come in here and scrub like that. You see how that lifted that? And I'm just going to come back and just lift some of that out. And as it dries, it will get lighter. Now, don't put too much because it will kind of bleed and it'll go into the other parts and it may kind of change that color a little bit. Now, on this one, I pretty much have everything. That white, I really don't like white. So I think I'm gonna, I don't know, I might do a little ink blending around it. Let's see what that will do. See how very light that is. Let's just see. You may go, oh, Marie, stop, stop. It's just barely got any color. What do y'all think? Yeah, we'll see what it looks like when we cut it out. Okay. So now I just, let's stamp. Let's stamp our sentiment. Ooh, let's put these away before I lose them. I try to put my stamps as well as my dies up as I use them because then they don't get lost. Okay. All right, let's stamp our, while we're stamping, oops, this time I'm going to use You Did It, if I could find it. Ah, there it is. That was simple. You did it. Okay, and I'm just going to set my stamp down the wrong way. A lot of times when I'm using my blocks, you see how you got that square? Well, sometimes your eye really pays attention to the square, so I put it at an angle. I put the stamp on as an angle. Now, I have not used the stamp yet. Whoa. I have not used the stamp yet. So, don't break it by smushing too hard like I almost did. You see how it is really sticky. I take it back off. I put him back on. I kind of messed him up. Well, let's try this one more time. Gosh, he's so sticky. There, I like that better. Okay. Let's see. You can use the Memento ink. Again, I've already used it once. This is the first time I'm stamping this, so I'm going to come over here. Yeah. And make sure it stamps pretty well. clean him off. Who needs graduation cards? That's what I'm kind of working on here. And I'm going to put him back. Such a wonderful stamp set. And look, it's so little. Just little ones, and it works with that banner punch beautifully. So let's cut these out. Let's get all the Staple Blends out of the way. We're bringing back the mini, I hope. I can cut it down if it won't fit. Whew, it fits, yay. Okay. I really like the mini one because I can have it, you know, on my desk. I'm going to cut this down just a skosh. I don't like having the paper and the die like right on the edge. I just think it cuts a little bit better if it's not like that. So let's get our die this way. And you just kind of look at it and finagle it until you have everything kind of where it belongs. Hopefully that will work. We'll see. Nothing more irritating than to put your die on wrong and have it cut out crooked. Now, sometimes if that happens, I just take the scissors and I cut it myself. I try to cut it down. I'll get rid of all the white border and all of that if it's just way off. With me, you never know. Even though I have been doing this for a while, not as long as some people. Boy, I see some people that say, oh, I've been doing it for the past 25 years. I'm like, wow. That's a long time. Ooh, I think I'm gonna like that. Okay. And let's get to a little butterfly. Isn't he cute? All right. Put these away right away. I know some people put it like in a magnetic bowl or magnet bowl, whatever. I just put it right back. I have all my dies on these magnetic sheets, and they really hold them. And I've just put them away, even while I'm still using them. It's just a habit for me. Some people think that I'm too type A. I am type A, by the way, if you couldn't tell. Okay. So now I'm going to cut him out. And let's see if I can get it where I want him. So I can put him on like this big long one. Like that. What do y'all think? I think that looks good. Ooh. I could put him on a little one. I kind of like that too. I think I'm gonna put him on the bigger one. This. I almost got him a little bit too. I should have gone over a little bit more. All right. Let's see. That one. Ooh, but I could also use that one. You did it. Oh, still like this one better. Okay. I'll quit messing around. Let's cut it. And if I don't like where it is, I can always stamp it again. Have I ever told you that I'm very picky? Sort of. I don't know. Grief. That one was tough. See, I got an extra one because of where the cardstock was. And that'll look all right. You did it. Okay. All that finagling for nothing. Should have just stayed with the first. Okay. Now I've got a little extra. I'll put him over with my little extra pile. Okay. So now we're going to put him all together. I think I like the 3. So if I do the 3 like that, and I do him like that, and this new little guy here, and maybe one of them like that, and the other one off like that, and this little guy will go something like that, and then he's going to come down here, and the butterfly's going to go there. What y'all think? Now, we'll see if I could put that back. I could try to just pick it. You know what? You can get press and seal, and you can press that down on it and pick it all up, and it will all stay. But I don't have press and seal with me right this minute. So I'm going to try to put it back together, and we'll see. Okay, let's glue it. Let's glue our circles. So 1, 2, and 3, something like that. All right. So I'm just going to put a little glue here. Just a little. And then I want to see how I want that one too. And then I'm going to put that one like that. Okay, so for that, I'm going to just put a little glue like that and kind of pick him up. Okay, now we'll glue them all down. All righty. Like that, or I think I like it better like that. Okay, quit messing with the Murray. All right, so I know he's going to go down first because that's kind of what I decided, right? So we'll glue him. So we're just adding a little bit of glue just on the tips. Now if you're using the Tombow multi glue, green glue, this stuff, make sure you don't have any squishing out, because when it dries, it stays sticky. If it adheres 2 things together, it's fine. But if you get a little bit out, it'll stay sticky. And if it stays sticky, that's okay. Just get you some baby powder or cornstarch or your embossing, you know, a little embossing bag, which I really hadn't talked about yet, but I will. There's a little product. I think I'll put him. What do you think? He's going to go like that, and he's going to go that way, right? Okay. I'm going to put just a little dot right there. Okay. So, anyhow, that will take that sticky out. It'll cover it up. It'll unstick it. Okay, so we're going to put him kind of like that. And then he's going to kind of, I think I want him more like that. And then he's going to come over like that. And then this one is going to go like that. Is that what we said? I know you're telling me. Yep, that's what we said. Okay, so don't fall asleep. We're almost done. We're going to put him kind of like that. And then he's going to come out to the side. Okay. I usually try to do things in odd numbers. No, not always. Sometimes it ends up being an even number. But most of the time, things I do are kind of in an odd number. 4. And then he's going to go right there. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's 6 and 7. Now for him, I don't think I want to pop him up. I was sitting there going, we could pop him up. But if we pop him up, I'm going to pop this up. So I don't really want to pop that up. But I do think I need to put a little bit of a one of these little guys. Let's see. Give me that. If I put him like that, see how he'll kind of stand up, and then I will, let's put it a little higher. Okay. Trying to, and then I'll put him on dimensionals. What do y'all think? Or should we, like, go? Or should we just put him straight down? He'll kind of pop himself up. What do y'all think? Should we put him at an angle? I'm going to just glue him down, and then we'll see. Oops, I tore it. That's what happens when you start messing with things. It's okay. It won't hurt a thing. I don't like to put too much of a bulk because then it's harder for you to mail things. 1, 2, 3. And since I'm putting, maybe I tear a little backers off. And then I always put just a dab of glue because I like to move things around. I want to I'm going to get my reverse tweezers that I almost hit myself with. Put him like that. Okay. Woo. I know this is a long one, isn't it? What do y'all think? I like it. So it's a little different than the first one. As I said, I don't like to do two things the same. Usually I have to do something different. Now on the inside, I could certainly stamp the inside. I'm not going to do that right now. The video is already 54 minutes, so I think that's long enough. So I hope that you enjoyed this card and you would be able to save a little bit of your designer series paper by cutting out a shape, and then when you put things on top of it, you would never know it. You can use your punches, your dies, your stamps, and your Stampin' Blends. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please give me a like, subscribe if you haven't, share with your friends, give me a comment. And until next time, I hope you have a great day. Bye for now.